people not leaving their property, immediately I'm thinking, it's going to get cold. These people are going to die. They had 11 trucks pull into my house. They said, we're coming to help you. And we had 11 mission sheds at my house in 2 days that they built them from ground up. And they didn't ask where they're going, what's for supper, where are we going to sleep. They wanted to give. When you're in survival mode and you're doing God's work, God says, take care of my people. And I asked him, I said, okay, God, who's your people? He said, they're all my people.
This is our second episode, and join us as we celebrate the people and places that make these mountains such a beautiful, living, breathing community. I'm Allie. My co-host Anna is here, and we have Ed and Barbie on today. But before we dive on, the best way that you can support our brand new channel is by hitting the subscribe button or following our channel, sharing this with a friend. Western North Carolina is a really, really magical place, and we want as many people as possible to hear the stories that make this community very special. So, Anna, if you want to sort of take it away in terms of what's next and what we're here to talk about.
Absolutely. So welcome back to WNC Heartbeat, everybody. I'm Anna Robis with my co-host Allie Tisdall. And today we're talking with Barbie and Ed Johnson. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Ed. How you doing?
Hey, guys.
So this is the husband and wife team that we know behind the mission sheds here in Spring Creek. When disasters strike, families are often left without shelter, safety, or space to rebuild. And Barbie and Ed created a simple but transformative idea. Build small sheds that can serve as storage, workshops, and even temporary shelter, and deliver them directly to families in need. So we're so excited to have you on the podcast today to talk about this amazing venture that you both have been doing. And I just want to start with the beginning. How did this idea for the mission sheds come about?
I guess it's my turn to tell you, right? Okay. So, with the storm that hit on September the 26th, after that storm, we had worked. I'm on the volunteer fire department, and Barbie and I were out trying to take our side-by-side and try to rescue people. Not really rescue them, just try to find people that needed help, and we were going to help them. And so I went out with a truck, and I couldn't get out the driveway, so I backed up and went back and grabbed the side-by-side, and Barbie went with me, and we went down to Meadow Fork Road, found a guy that was his truck had went into the creek, and he was really scared. And it took us 3 hours to get from Meadow Fork back to the fire department with him on a
Oh my
side-by-side.
gosh.
So it's about
Wow.
2 miles. And
Yeah.
then we seen immediately, we had some problems. So we went back to the fire department. I took all the side-by-sides and took all the four-wheelers, everything I had, took them down there for the fire department to use, and just volunteered Barbie and I, and then the four-wheelers and side-by-sides, and then everybody on the fire department and people just started coming in, and we were in survival mode, saving people, helping any way we could. And after we were done, now we're going to fast forward, I guess it would be about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks of feeding people from until 2 a.m, getting back out there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, just wearing yourself out. Well, when we come home, it was about, I think it was October the 8th, maybe the 9th. And we were standing in the kitchen, and we didn't know what to do. That was our first day home that we'd been working so hard.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what to do. And that's when God said, you're not done. So we had kind of wiggled our way back to, getting ready in the morning. You walk back to the bathroom, you're standing there in front of the mirror getting ready. And then Barbie told me that there was people that would not leave their property. And you figure October, people not leaving their property. Immediately I'm thinking, It's going to get cold. These people are going to
Right.
die.
Right.
And personally myself, when I talk to God, it's an all day thing. It's not a, now, you put your hands together and you go in prayer. I try to listen to God all the time. And Barbie was telling me that there was a need that these people needed, need these sheds, that they're going to live in tents. And so I verified. I called a girl that was uh, assistant chief in Barnardsville, and also the same girl was assistant chief in Marshall. And we had already donated a shipping container to Marshall because they had no fire department. So 40-foot container went into them, and we were kind of already branching off to, trying to help any way that we possibly could. So after that had happened, after we had talked, and I talked to this lady that was assistant chief, and I said, Morgan, I said, is this true? And she said, well, yeah, people won't leave the property. I said, okay. I said, well, we're going to start building sheds. And she says, okay. And I said, how many of these people are out there? 5, 10, how many you need? She said, oh, Ed. She said, hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah.
Wow.
And I said, oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you pray about something, you get God's answer. You may think that it's going to be this little number. Well, God never gave me a number, and he still hasn't given me a number, and he's probably not going to give me a number, because now we've went from when we started, and we are with Mission Sheds, that we built an 8x10 building with a 50-year roof, T111 on it. You can set it right on the ground. You can pick it up with a forklift. You can move it. It's got a 3.0 door, which is 36-inch door, and a 3.0 window, which is 36 inches square. It opens up. It's double insulated, and it's a double hung window. So you can kick it out. You can get out that way. You can get out through your 3.0 door. It's gonna, if it was a house, it would meet any code. 16 on center. We've dropped them. We've rolled them over. We've tested them, and they're still stay together. Don't jam the door. Don't break the window.
Wow.
But
Now, Ed, my understanding is that you guys have had just a slew, because when when I basically first met you and you were talking about these sheds, and it was shortly
yeah,
after the hurricane, you mentioned to me that you had just a ton of volunteers that showed up to
oh
your
yeah,
property.
yeah.
Tell me about that. I mean, first of all, how did you find all these people? And second of all, what did that all look like?
They found us. Um, they found us. That again is a God thing. Um, we've had hundreds of volunteers, 300 plus volunteers from from where, Barbie?
All over Ohio, um, Indiana, Illinois, North Carolina, South Carolina,
Florida,
Florida, Georgia,
Missouri,
Tennessee, Missouri, and then we have
Michigan.
some
I
Michigan.
mean, you can pretty much just say the eastern part of the United States have been here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also we've had people from Egypt, Bangladesh, the Bahamas.
Wow.
These were missionaries.
Yeah. And when they were getting slammed down there in Texas, the kids were up here volunteering and helping us. Yeah, Texas.
So this is
And
a nationwide effort. You've
it
pulled in
really
people
is.
from all over.
And see, Mission Sheds is not Ed and Barbie, okay? Mission Sheds is people all around the United States or the world that want to help people and build sheds and help people. And maybe they don't have the skills to help people, but their church wants to come in and they want to learn how to read a tape measure and learn how to build a floor. We teach them. So you've got a school of teaching these people how to work and deliver and set up and pull trailers. And then we have some seasoned people that come in and they'll run crews of people. When my mom was in the hospital in Florida, I had crews of people up here from Miami that I wasn't even here, and they built five mission sheds
What
while
was
I
it
was in Florida.
like? What was it like the first time you saw these volunteers from outside the region come in and help a group of people that aren't technically their neighbors or their community or their family?
Probably the first one I would say would be, and not to specifically point it out, but one that comes in mind was when Pastor Isaac come in from West Virginia, and they had 11 trucks pull into my house at 7 o'clock in the morning. They said, "We're coming to help you." And we had 11 mission sheds at my house in 2 days that they built them from ground up. And they didn't ask where they're going. They didn't ask, what's for supper. They didn't ask, where are we going to sleep? Well, we had it set up, but they didn't care. They would have slept in their trucks to help these people. And I told them, I said, well, let's go ahead and get something. No. I don't want nothing. They don't want nothing. They wanted to give, but, they end up with the blessing when they leave. That, you think that the people that would receive the building would be the ones getting the blessing. But the people that are volunteering their time, they're just as blessed. And
Giving of oneself is
oh
such a
yeah,
blessing.
yeah.
Mhm. It's humbling.
It's almost like saving the little bunny that's hung up in the tree. Yeah, the
Or the
bunny
turtle.
really appreciates it,
Yeah.
but you really feel good about it too.
Mm.
Or the
So,
turtles that cross the road this time of year. Like I always
oh yeah,
stop and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
please, I can push
yeah.
you to the side.
That's right. That's right.
So
Yes.
Ed, what was it like delivering that first shed?
Oh, oh boy. You know, um, I could rewind it just a little bit, and I had been trained on building the mission sheds when COVID hit, because we had a thing that we were building chicken houses, and I was in training. So I had already had my trailer built. I was in training. So when we went out and we delivered the first mission shed, remember who it went to?
What the one that Marshall?
That would be when Best Buy Metals went out with us, and we went right on the river there, right in Marshall.
We started in Marshall.
Yep.
Mhm.
And there was one down on the river where they got their windows blown out, and we dropped one off. We went back in. They were kind of like the first ones. And one lady, she said that, she prayed that, she couldn't keep her house clean. She said, well, God helped her clean her house because the water come in and all of her furniture went out,
It's
and then
funny.
her house.
That's actually the second time I've heard someone say that from Marshall.
Mhm.
Different story, but a friend of mine had mentioned that their friend kind of lost most of their belongings and in many ways saw the silver lining of like, I had all
Yeah.
this baggage I was carrying with me and it helped me cleanse my life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And, you have people that might had, 100,000 house, 200,000, $300,000 house, and they have nothing. They just have, it's a sand lot with rocks.
Yeah.
And you drop the mission shed, you say a prayer in front of the house, tell them God loves them, that this is a gift from God. And, they stand there and cry because they're so thankful that they have something. And one of the hardest things is that I've lost my house when I was a kid, that it burnt to the ground.
Oh
And then
my.
also Barbie and I lost her house in Florida when we had 3 hurricanes hit the one house, destroyed it.
Oh
And
wow.
what these people are looking for is, and a lot of people won't understand this unless you've been through it. But when we give them a mission shed, I tell them, this is yours. Nobody can take it from you. This is yours. And when people go through something like that, they just want to go home. And when they can't go home, you can go to your neighbors, you can go to your friends, your cousins, but they all go to bed and it's time for them. It's time for you to go somewhere. Well, no matter if it's a box and you call it home, it's yours. That's your place. So that's what people get, and we tell them, that that's a gift from God, that, you thank God, that's a gift from God. And we've had some people that don't believe in God that actually help us with the mission sheds. And let me tell you something, a God that people don't believe in will use people that don't believe in him and to get his work done. And but that was the first mission shed there when we delivered it, was a lady that she had nothing but just a sandbox.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know I remember at the time, it was really hard to get any kind of materials. It was hard to get packages delivered. I can't imagine trying to deliver sheds. And I've worked a little bit with my husband's business in the freight industry, dealing with freight, trying to get
Mhm.
things moved around, and it is surprisingly complex. Um, can you talk about any of the sort of how did you get sheds from point A to point B? Was it more volunteers? Were you working with a company? How did that all happen?
I kind of wimped out of it. I I had where um that's where I listened to Barbie. She says, "You need to these are the people that are getting them, and this is where you're going." And, and then as far as I love a challenge, if you tell me I can't do something, I'll put mud grips on my truck, lock it in four-wheel drive, and I'll go. Don't tell me I can't do it. But Barbie,
I love it.
she's the one that she tells me where we're going. She does the logistics of it, and,
Come out of the picture.
yeah,
So
well,
wait,
it's really a big picture.
you guys delivered them. You two.
Oh, yes,
We've
both
All
of
of them.
us.
we've been
Yeah.
in everyone. I haven't been on everyone because I had some family issues, but we personally deliver everyone. And people keep saying you need to have people do it for y'all. But
Yeah, I was
no,
gonna say
we
that's
We've done the work. We've done the work. We like to reap a little bit,
we
you know.
would we want to meet these people and give it to them personally.
There were 3 buildings that we did not deliver out of. We've got the
Well,
doors built.
yeah,
We had three buildings we didn't deliver. Had one guy that showed up, he put 2 on his trailer, he took them to
yes,
Swannanoa for a church. And then we had one guy that come out of Swannanoa with a rollback truck, a guy that I met before, and he needed one, he picked up his own. He had a rollback
yeah.
truck. And now these mission sheds, they're actually they are storm shelters. We built them as mission sheds, um, which are under the 12-foot by 12-foot any direction. No, we don't have to have any special permits or anything. Um, but it is a mobile building that is under 12 feet in any direction. You don't need a permit to haul it. You don't have to have a permit to put it on a piece of property.
yeah.
We've had them from downtown Clyde to downtown Asheville, and they can't touch us because they are a storm shelter.
Wow. So how do you determine, obviously there was a huge need after the hurricane. How do you guys determine sort of who gets them or priority or any of that? I mean, how do you rifle
That
through
one
all
right
of them?
there, she can explain that to you.
Well, Barbie, I wanted to ask you, like what's been your experience in your part? So maybe this is a good segue to hear from your perspective how all this has gone. Because I remember cooking with you at the fire department, and it was such a wonderful way to meet you and other folks in the community. And I was so inspired by your commitment to the community. I can't wait to hear your perspective on how this has gone too.
Um, Thank you. We had a lot of wonderful people that stepped in, and it was amazing to see everyone come together and just how it just came together. But as far as choosing the people, um, we've not advertised. They just call us, and I kind of have to talk to that person that's going to get the shed. I want to be able to. I don't really vet them a whole lot. I just ask a few questions, and kind of the criteria was you had to have lost your home. Basically, that was really it. And of course, you had to have a piece of property to put it on, and you would just kind of listen to their story and kind of get to know them. And then that would also tell me what they needed. Not only did they get a shed, they would get everything to put in it, from bedding to beds to cookware to food, towels, just anything that they could use as a little bitty tiny home, if you were to call it. So they did get their supplies also if they had kids. And That part was pretty hard, really just hearing their stories and how many of them just cried on the phone, but it's a God thing. Very few was turned away. We did get some of the homeless that was calling me, and of course, we couldn't help the homeless because they had nowhere to put one, but that's when we would get them tents. I talked to Ed and I said, "Ed, we've gotta do something. There's homeless too." So we would supply tents and backpacks, and I would fill their backpacks with socks, underwear, and they all got Bibles. I did a Bible drive and received over 300 Bibles plus. So they all get Bibles, just whatever they need. And that's in Western North Carolina. And we've placed 39 here in Western North Carolina so far, not counting the vehicles, the campers, and the tents. And now Kentucky, that was a whole nother heartbreak. When we got to Kentucky, we had nothing here, but Kentucky, nothing. So we kind of changed our criteria a little bit for them and was able to place 20, we're at 26 in Kentucky. So we're at a total of 65 placed. And we've got, what, 10 more possibly?
In Kentucky?
No, that's finished.
Oh,
Almost
no.
finished.
No, I've got, which we need to put doors on them.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's probably 15.
I don't think there's that many. But just now, as winter's coming, I'm getting more phone calls. The mold is, of course, there. And these people are living in these molded homes. So we've got probably, if I'm not mistaken, about 10 left on my list still. And I think when the winter hits, we'll be getting more phone calls because those that are still in these houses that are not safe.
Yeah.
And so
It was a very wet summer here as well. Very,
Yeah.
very wet. And that's not helped it much.
no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a cooler summer at least that, it's not going to be building the mold as fast. But
Mhm.
yeah, up in Kentucky, I mean, you go up there and a lot of people didn't even know about it. But when it hit, we found out somehow, and I don't even know how we found out. But we strapped up, threw on our mission sheds, and we were gone. And we
Yeah.
were standing
Mhm.
there, and people are like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" We were
Yeah.
the only ones up there. You give away buildings, and that was something.
Yeah.
Now, Anna, do you have any sort of last questions that we want to ask Barbie and Ed so we don't take up too much of their time today?
Yeah, we really, the purpose of this podcast is to spark the desire or the recognition in others to do good works, to see what you all done, see that we're all normal, everyday
Yeah,
people.
see that? I'm normal.
Normal, everyday people who are dedicating our lives to making things better for our fellow humans. And is there anything that you could say how this mission has changed your perspective on your community, people, or some growth you've experienced through this work that you can pass on to our listeners so they can use it for their own inspiration?
You want to start?
No, you go.
No.
Mm.
Uh, you know, um, I think it's brought out a lot of people to understand that it's not a white world, it's not a black world, it's not a pink world. When you're in survival mode and you're doing God's work, God says, "Take care of my people." And I asked him, I said, "Okay, God, who's your people?" He said, "They're all my people." So whatever he says, we do. But when you bring a bunch of people together, and some people they really don't want to swing a hammer, they don't want to get a shovel, they don't want to put a truck out with a trailer, they don't want to be out until 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then get 2 hours sleep and jump right back at it. But they'll throw you $100, or they'll throw you money, or they'll bring in light bulbs, or they'll bring in food or sleeping bags, Gatorade. I mean, I can go on and on. You guys have seen the donations these people brought in, and they're doing it because they want to help. And I think that it makes it, when these disasters, I do think that there's a silver lining in every one of these disasters, is it brings the community back together. Because, people have had their nose stuck in the phone for so long, they don't even know who's right beside them half the time. But when you have something where people need one another, and then they start helping from their heart, then that's when you can just stand back and just watch God work, because God uses his people.
Sure
And I mean,
does.
it's made us better. Um, I haven't got much done here at my house the last year or two, but I thought, well, what did I do before I did this? I mean, did I just sit at the house and watch TV? What did I do? Because
Right?
I can't
Yeah.
get nothing else done here. So, but
Well,
it's made where it's made us better for
I'm
ourselves.
sure listeners who are listening to this, speaking of supporting, and there's no way they're going to listen to this podcast and not feel inspired. What's the best way to support Mission Sheds? Is it through your website? Do you have a donation page? How can people help?
We're going to work on a donation page. We did
Fun.
a GoFundMe, and some people don't really like GoFundMe. So we're going to do a QR code. It won't take us long. I can sit down and make one. You can go to our webpage, which is missionsheds.com. And you can search down through there. You can find our numbers, or else our address is on there also. They can mail a check. They can go ahead and donate, we'll have a QR code where they can click it and go. And really, I mean, we've had people donate materials, but really, and I tell people, and I hate to be blunt about it, but it takes a lot of money to do what we're doing. And we started with, somebody asked me, they said, how are you doing this? And I said, well, we're just doing it. And she says, well, yeah, but where did you get all this stuff to begin with? I said, I'm an auctioneer. I had this stuff laying around. I had 2 semi-loads of lumber that I threw in it to begin with out of my own pocket. And then we just, I had stuff I didn't need. So I just started building mission sheds. And then
Well,
everybody
we
else.
will. Ed, when you have that QR code, definitely send us a copy or screenshot it, or
Oh,
however you
definitely.
wish, and we'll make sure we post that on our accounts so that people
Thank
can
you.
directly
Thank
donate.
you.
Ed and Barbie, I don't know, Barbie knows this, but I do website work and all that, and social media stuff and all that. And if
Yeah.
you need assistance, I'm happy to offer free of charge anything you guys need to
Oh, we'll
help.
call you when we get off.
Whatever. Yeah.
We'll call
Yeah.
you when we get off the thing here. So,
Yep.
but here's one thing that this is a very important part. Mission Sheds is not just shelters. It has started growing into. We now have a disaster recovery unit, which is a diesel pusher bus that we're going to be having. The labels are going to go on it. The advertising is going to go on it with RVs. And if you hear the bells and whistles going off, mission sheds are going out. And we might not be to where we're just out delivering these mission sheds to people for shelters. We're going to be on the front line pulling people out of buildings and pulling them out of rubble. And we've made contacts. We've got 5 doctors and nurses right now that are going to find us when we're out. They asked us specifically, will you please put your emblem on the roof of the RV, because they're going to be flying into us. So when we go in, these people their heart and desire is to help people. So we've got shovels and rakes and chainsaws and demo saws in the belly of this bus. And now we've got white tents. And the one lady told me, she said, that's going to be a makeshift hospital. She asked me, she said, well, what are you going to do when you pull the people out? I said, I don't know. I said, God said, just pull them out. She said, yeah. She said, well, now, she said, that's going to be our responsibility. When you pull them out, she said, make those into makeshift hospitals, and so we can save people so they can fly in helicopters to get people out. So, I mean, that's not what I didn't see this. I don't think anybody would see it, but to God be the glory, and whatever he wants us to do, that's what we're going to do.
That is I have chills. I mean, I'm just so inspired by what you guys are doing. Thank you guys so much for coming onto this podcast, spending time with us, sharing your story, how you came about. You've inspired me. I'm sure you've inspired Anna and all of our listeners. And if any of you guys out there have enjoyed the conversation, this is our second episode. So
Wow,
if
this
you
is
want
great.
more, we
Mm.
we did post a first episode right before where
Yeah.
Anna and I talk a little bit more about like our vision and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
be sure to give that a watch. And for any of you out there, be sure to follow our channel, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Very good. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Thank you
having us.
so much. It was
Mm.
lovely to listen to your story.
Yeah,
Thank you.
truly.